Hello and welcome to Instant Transmission, a podcast where we discuss everything Dragon Ball and how many comings is too many. Tonight, Broly is back from outer space. He just crash landed his ship and got them crystals on his face. And if you want to know what that means, stay tuned because we'll be discussing how they never actually addressed it. I'm your host, Dayton, and once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Todd.
Hi.
Tonight's episode will be more of our thoughts and opinions, this time covering the 1994 movie released in Japan and 2005 here in the States called Dragon Ball Z Broly - Second Coming. An interesting fact from the wiki is that this is the only instance of Gohan actually fighting in his blue gi. All other instances of him wearing it are just training. And with all that covered, was there anything you wanted to add before we got things started, Todd?
No, I think we can dive right into this one. This was pretty straightforward, I guess.
All right. Well, the movie begins with a Saiyan pod crashing into what I presume is Earth and revealing a pissed off Broly who covers himself in like ice crystals and goes to sleep. There's no explanation, but we do cut over to our new intro of Teen Gohan riding around with Goten and Trunks. So we kind of know about when this movie takes place.
Yeah, so we've kind of got the vibe that this is somewhere in the ballpark of the Boo arc, maybe early Boo arc. We basically see the boys are searching for the Dragon Balls, and Videl is with them, helping them search for the Dragon Balls. I'm trying to remember if they do say Trunks basically wants to wish for an amusement park. Did they cover any of the other wishes that they were thinking about? Because I don't
Gohan
remember
wants like, or not Gohan, Goten wants like a palace made out of like candy or something like that.
That's what it was.
I did laugh though because Goten even comments on how trivial collecting the Dragon Balls has been, and I actually had a good hearty chuckle at that.
At least that's like I mean, it's a very meta joke, right? Like they're making fun of themselves for how trivial it's become in Dragon Ball period. So I'm pretty glad that they included that too.
Well, around this time, Videl comes across like a strange crystal while they're out here collecting the Dragon Balls. And she comments on how beautiful this crystal is, but it's weird that there's so many of these things on this island. And the island's populated by this poor local town, which doesn't make any sense because they should be able to sell these crystals for a bunch of money. And that's a storyline that never really gets addressed.
More or less. Basically, it's this like little village. There's kind of this bad guy who's exploiting the village, and it sounds like they're sacrificing people to a monster that's attacking the village, I guess. And so Goten, Trunks, and Videl, like, I think they're looking for one more Dragon Ball, but they basically set themselves up to help the village. I think they set themselves up as like the sacrifices for this village, and effectively put themselves in like a big food pot to be eaten by the monster that is ravaging this village.
So I think I misunderstood something when I first saw this, is that Trunks agrees to help them in exchange for this big fancy necklace that one of the villagers is wearing. I assumed that one of the big orange ball on the necklace was a Dragon Ball. Is that not a Dragon Ball? Is that just a necklace that he's doing this to get from this guy? Or is that a Dragon Ball?
I think I actually don't remember if it shows up as a Dragon Ball. I think at bare minimum, Trunks thought it was a Dragon Ball. That's kind of the impression that I got, but I don't think they show it actively as a Dragon Ball later on in the movie.
Yeah, because I got a little bit confused because they zoom in on it and they don't show any of the stars on it, but it looks like it's like the size and shape and even kind of color of a Dragon Ball. But then it's just part of the necklace. I don't think it actually is a Dragon Ball because I'm pretty sure they're all in in a bag at some point, and Trunks is still wearing the necklace thing. So I don't know what's going on with this thing.
The impression that I got was that they've collected, I think, 6 of the balls, and then they're looking for the last one, and they thought they could track it to this town, and I think Trunks thought that was it, but they end up finding it later. Was how I pieced it together in my head, I guess.
Because it's not laid out very clearly, and I may have just misunderstood, but I'm kind of trying to fill in what I perceive are gaps in my understanding of how the story was said to me, because it's not, we're just kind of rapid fire going from like little point to little point here.
Yes, yeah, it's a little bit tricky to follow, to be honest. I'm not even sure that I understood exactly how the evil guy in the village was like exploiting the village necessarily, but it, to be honest, it's not super relevant as we kind of move forward. They find out, or at least what they think was the monster that was attacking the village is a dinosaur. Goten and Trunks they played with dinosaurs as they are still children, but as younger children, they've played with dinosaurs, so they, get rid of the dinosaur or whatever they need to
They
do.
even eat it too. Like they play with it, beat it up, and then eat it. Like that's pretty metal.
Oh, I forgot that they ate it too. Um, so they eat the dinosaur, and then the transition to Broly showing up is interesting. I guess the catalyst is that Goten cries during the setup for finding the monster because Goten wants food basically, and we kind of cut to Broly in his crystal prison or whatever it is, hearing Goten crying and relating that to Goku crying as a child, my favorite plot point about Broly.
We're just doubling down.
Yeah. But I guess at least they do connect the two, so that's good, I think.
Well, okay, and I'm going to discuss it right now because we never really get a concrete explanation. So he like comes out of this crystallization state that he's in, right? Is this crystallized ki? Is that what this is supposed to be? Or is it supposed to be something different? Is it magic? Is this something that's naturally occurring in the place that they're at? Because I'm not entirely sure what the whole crystallization thing is.
I'll be honest, I like more often than not, I try to come up with some sort of like head canon for things that happen, especially in these movies where I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but I could probably figure out a way for it to make sense. I have no idea what this crystallization thing is supposed to be. It could be key, I guess, like a way of preserving himself and protecting himself, maybe.
But like the villagers mentioned that there was like some sort of crystal that I think Broly may have destroyed when he crash landed or something.
Oh, right.
So like is there like a mesh of the two? I really struggled to understand what is actually happening and why Broly is just like chilled out in ice crystals or stone crystals or whatever the heck they are for 7 years.
He is Captain America. That's my best
I just
answer.
kept him
I have
on
no
ice.
idea. Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know what they were going for here, and we don't get a concrete explanation about it at all.
It's like, oh, you bet you have questions about it, and we're not going to answer it. So anyway, the next morning comes around, and Broly arrives creepily at the edge of the village and is just like floating above the water nearby. And he starts just randomly firing out key blasts, exploding the landscape. I don't know why he got mad, woke up, and then waited till morning to attack, but this is his battle strategy.
The timing and just like the beat to beat storytelling in this movie is wild.
Like if he broke out of the crystals because he heard the crying and was mad, went to attack him, like, yeah, that makes sense because you guys have established one plot point with this character and he's acting on it. But no, he got mad, woke up, waited for the next morning because it was still, I think, daytime when he had woken up from Goten crying. So he could have attacked right then, but instead he made sure everyone got some nice rest, got a big meal because they had a big day ahead of them.
I actually had to rewind because I thought I had missed something. I was very confused.
I mean, this one. I'm having a lot of fun with this one because they don't address plot points or explain anything in this movie. It's so good.
It's wild. Which another wild point to me. Videl is the first one on the scene as Broly is kind of like attacking the village with ki blasts. Broly's in kind of like, I don't even really know what to call it. Kind of like a base Super Saiyan form for him.
I say like half mast, like as far as Super Saiyans go.
Yeah, that's about
legendary
right.
Super Saiyans.
Yeah, not fully legendary, but his hair is blonde. So, and he's fighting Videl right off the bat. Which I mean, I'm excited to see Videl fight, but also she's just so insanely outclassed by Broly that it's shocking that she's even able to take a hit from him, which she does, and she does not get obliterated, which is interesting, I guess.
I mean, we've seen stuff like this happen a lot throughout Dragon Ball where somebody is able, for a moment anyway, to hold their footing against someone who completely outclasses them.
Right.
Um, and I don't mind this because I feel like there's almost like an element of martial arts that will always kind of, to some degree, compete with power level. And I like seeing that where Broly wasn't taking Videl seriously. He just went to throw a punch and she kind of caught him off guard. He expected her to just completely fold and she didn't. And it's not like, she starts whooping his ass or anything like that. Like she gets beat down pretty immediately after that. But it is cool giving her like that one cool moment to show that, yeah, she is like a competent martial artist. So I'm actually kind of fine with this.
I honestly, the thing that I agree with you, and I do like that. The thing that I was frustrated about more than anything is that I want more of that. Like I
Oh yeah.
wish I I want more of Videl fighting. Really, is what I want, and I want her to like have somebody to fight on her level so that we can have something interesting and engaging with her.
Yeah,
Um,
because I that's always the most interesting fight is two people who are at the same level. It's not necessarily the stakes because we rewatched or I'm sorry, we watched Dragon Ball, at least for me, the original series for the first time. And even though the stakes weren't nearly as high as they are in any point in Z, the fights are still amazing because you have the context of the battle that's at hand, and you have people
right.
that are similarly like at the same power level or the same fighting level. So it doesn't matter how high the levels are, as long as the fighters are on equal footing, it makes it an interesting fight. We never really get that with Videl or actually a lot of the other characters. Goten and Trunks don't really get too many moments either.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually true for Goten and Trunks too. Um, it's kind of a it, it's a maybe a mini side tangent of mine, but I just we've talked about it before. I love Videl. I would love to see more of Videl being a badass, and they kind of tease it in this movie, which I'm glad we get a little bit of it, but I just wish that we would get more. But this quickly turns into Goten and Trunks showing up on the scene and basically taking over the fight. They fully start fighting and engaging with Broly.
So at
Uh,
the start of this fight, and I need to bring this up. Broly begins like freaking out and screaming Kakarot after seeing Goten, which fair, that is his character. It's Kakarot dot crying baby, and
eh,
like Goten is confused by the name Kakarot. And that bothers me because did he not spend any time around Vegeta being best friends with Trunks? Because I feel like he would have heard
mm,
his father being referred to as Kakarot at some point. Um, like, I don't know. Like, it's not a big deal, but at the same time, he is palling around with the guy's son, the only guy who calls Goku Kakarot on the planet. Like, you figure he would hear something about it, or Trunks would bring it up in passing, like, "Oh, your dad? Don't you mean Kakarot?"
yeah, it's tricky. Like I get what you mean. There's also some context of like Vegeta didn't spend a lot of time with Trunks. You'd think it would have at least come up at some point since it's Goten's dad too. Uh, but yeah, I get what you mean. It also could be a dubism. We're both watching the dub too, and who
It's
knows if
definitely a nitpick. Like, it doesn't actually matter, but it's a moment where I'm just like, all right, like this is kind of like a world building, character building moment, and I don't know. I think this could have been addressed better.
right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Especially because
Um,
Trunks is standing right next to him, not answering the question for Goten.
Trunks should certainly know. Would have almost certainly heard the name Kakarot if Goten hadn't. Like I could see a world where Goten didn't hear it, but Trunks certainly would have.
Yeah, I'm like, Goten, your dad, idiot. Like something like that would have been like, oh yeah, like now it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would have liked them to add that detail for Trunks. Actually, having Trunks say that would have been more interesting.
But that's my irrelevant point I'm going to complain about. We can proceed forward.
Yeah, I think this kind of turns into. I mean, they start the fight. They do go Super Saiyan in here. I guess not right off the bat, but they go pretty quickly, which I'm happy about. I've kind of complained a little bit about some of the movies, they just take too long to do it. Uh, but even at Super Saiyan, even for both Goten and Trunks, they're still not a match for this half-mast Broly Super Saiyan form.
And we
Um,
kind of expect that, right? Like this is
yeah,
the appetizer fight. It kind of goes the way you expect it to. We also get a quick scene of like Gohan like out flying over the ocean somewhere, sensing this battle happening, and you see him kind of turn and head towards it. So we know Gohan's on the way. And I like this foreshadowing.
I do too. I sometimes, yeah, it's good to have an idea of like somebody else is going to be coming up into the fight here soon. This does kind of turn into Goten and Trunks getting blasted into. It's like a mining facility. They're mining like these giant. They look like giant pearls, or like giant glass orbs or something. Um, it's kind of in the space where there are those crystals, seemingly too. I don't know if the orbs are supposed to be like refined versions of the crystals. Again, a lot of this stuff we don't really get answers to.
Yeah, some
Um,
context to the crystal mines would have been great. A couple things around this time is one, they actually don't show the Super Saiyan transformation when Goten and Trunks power up. It happens off screen, which bothers me. I love transformations. It happens when they flip to Gohan changing directions. They're not Super Saiyan before it, and then they're Super Saiyan afterwards. So they cut away, they transform, they come back, and I'm a little bummed. I love transformations.
that's
Um,
true. That's a good point. That was another part where I thought I had missed something because we just came back and they were Super Saiyan. I was like, oh, okay. I guess we're doing this now.
But I mean, we're not putzing around, so all right, whatever. You win some, you lose some. And when they do this like a little bit of fighting in front of the mine, I love this part where Broly's like overwhelming our two young Saiyans here. He grabs both of them by the legs and lifts them up over his head and like double slams them head first into the ground, like this jumping slam that just pounds them into the ground. I actually think it looks great.
It's immediately after too, like fully no selling a kick from both of them to the face. It's got a couple of fun little moments in it. He does also try to do his like Broly basically has two moves. He has green key blast and he has I'm going to forearm clothesline you. And he does try to clothesline Goten and Trunks multiple times.
He's got another move that he added to his repertoire of this movie. It's weird like pins and chokes. He does a lot of weird pins and chokes this movie.
Yeah, I guess he does kind of do those in the first one too, doesn't he? Because he grabs who does he grab? Maybe Gohan by the face or the neck and like runs him. Maybe it's Vegeta actually runs him through one of the buildings. Um, so yeah, he feels like a wrestler to me.
He
Maybe that's
really
why people
does.
like him.
I mean, for the time, I think he was perfect.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of the appeal to him. But as Goten and Trunks are kind of getting beaten up and thrown around through this mining facility, all of this is being treated very lightly, even though they're getting their butts kicked. They do put eyes on the final Dragon Ball, and I think Trunks is actually wearing the necklace that he got from the guy. So this is probably like I don't think they say anything about it, but maybe this is their realization that, oh, this isn't the Dragon Ball around my neck. That's the Dragon Ball.
So they're like, all right, here's the plan. We need to summon the Eternal Dragon to take care of this evil guy. So Trunks, you go distract evil guy, and then Goten will summon the dragon and take out Evil Man. And so they put the plan into action. Trunks runs up to a ledge and turns around and pulls down his pants, and we get to see a bunch of Trunks ass as he tries to get Broly to be distracted, which I guess works.
Broly's treated like a big dumb guy in this movie. He just kind of full on charges at Trunks's butt and tries to murder the child, I guess.
According to
Goten,
the wiki, outside of Kakarot, he says one line this entire movie.
I don't even remember him saying anything other than Kakarot.
Me neither. I'm just taking the wiki's word for it.
Hell yeah. Um, but yeah, this works. Goten gets the Dragon Ball, and then he runs into a canister or a crate of the crystal orbs, knocks them, breaks the crate, and drops the Dragon Ball, and now it's mixed in with all these crystal balls. So hijinks ensue.
Yeah, so Dragon's not coming anytime soon. Trunks has to keep being the distraction, so he squares off 1v1 against Broly to actually do battle now. And we actually get a pretty decent little exchange here. We see Trunks charge in and kind of do the dash lines inside Broly's guard, delivering a swinging kick that actually knocks Broly's head backwards. You see Trunks kind of step up his shoulder and begin stomping on his face, and then jumps off. Uh, I mean, Broly's huge, right? Like he's using Broly like a platform at this point. Jumps off of Broly and unleashes a key salvo that Broly just pushes straight through. And then when the big shirtless guy goes to give our heroic child a bear hug, Trunks kind of leans in and delivers a key blast point blank. It's a fun little exchange. I actually think it's one of the better moments in this movie.
Yeah, especially for fight choreography. It very much it works with the vibe of having a much smaller opponent versus a much larger opponent, of him like kicking him in the face and like stomping on his face and stuff. It's I do like that element of it. Also, there's something to be said about Trunks using the volley of key blasts, and it feels very much like a Vegeta move, which is very funny to me.
Yeah, the panic key blast, you got to use it, especially if your dad used it.
Yeah, exactly. Um, we basically get Goten faffing about trying to find the Dragon Ball. So there's, I think, three moments in here of, if you want to call it like potty humor, of Trunks showing his butt. Goten here is just taking a leak, and then later Trunks is going to take a leak on Broly. So it's I don't know. I guess it depends on your taste and humor if you like that sort of thing, but
Peepees and butts. It's what kids are all about, peepees and butts.
Kids are all about peepees and butts. Trunks is also using a waterfall to very Scooby-Doo like dip out of and dodge Broly. And then he actually has some dialogue that I really enjoyed where he says something about, my dad would be ashamed of me for hiding like a coward. And I just like, Vegeta does not show up in this movie, to my dismay, but having that little line about Vegeta, I absolutely loved.
See, I loved it twicefold because not only would Trunks think that, like, it's a very in character thing for him to think, but also we've seen Vegeta kind of do stuff like that before, where his pride breaks down for a moment and he goes into survival mode. And you see him kind of like acting outside of his normal character. We've seen moments like this before with him. I believe on Namek, when he realized he was outdone by Frieza or the Ginyu Force, I forget which it was, we saw him running for his life in a similar fashion. So we've seen Vegeta go through moments like this as well. So I like that father like son moment that Trunks is having at this point.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, even in the Broly movie, you could say that Vegeta's like fighting spirit had basically been broken. So yeah, there's definitely some good parallels to be shared there. This does turn into Goten basically coming out and being like, "Hey guys, I got all the Dragon Balls," and then Trunks shows his face, and they both try to summon Shenron, and it doesn't work. I'll be honest, they've never really. I don't think they've ever solidified that you have to say something very specific to summon Shenron. But they kind of
have with the
treat it that
Namekian
way.
dragon, where you had to speak Namekian to it in order to summon it.
For the Namekian one. For
and the
Earth.
in Dragon Ball Super, you had to say peas and carrots or whatever.
Oh yeah, they see, that's a funny one because they kind of, that's for the Super Dragon Balls, I think you're talking about, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, like, you're right. Both of those they've established, but they've done that for the Namekian Dragon Balls and the Super Dragon Balls. I don't know that they've specifically established something for the Earth's Dragon Balls, but they usually say something along the lines of like, "Eternal Dragon, come grant my wish." So maybe because they didn't say it that way, Shenron doesn't show up. It's kind of weird and ambiguous in the movie, but I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, but I'm not going to hang on it too much because it's we've seen the dragon summoned a couple different ways, and I have other issues with the way the dragon is handled by the end of the movie. So we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, I think this kind of leads into the scene that I was already alluding to, where Trunks is. I mean, this is another like I guess wrestling move where Trunks is basically being bent over Broly's head backwards, and Trunks really has to pee, so pees right on the legendary Super Saiyan's face.
Yeah, I mean they were trying to allude to this moments earlier where Trunks is like, I'm about to have an emergency or something. And then Broly doing, like I mentioned, he has his weird chokes, pins, whatever he does, his weird grabbing people. Maybe I shouldn't put it that way, but he has he grabs his child and
Oh.
yeah. I mean, I feel like they go too far with like the kid humor in this. But I also feel like that's sometimes an issue with Goten and Trunks anyway, where I feel like they emphasize them being kids too much and don't give them enough like active mature moments that you would see like out of a young Goku or something like that. We don't have those same moments as much with Goten and Trunks.
Maybe that's my problem with it. Like I was trying to figure out why I don't like that humor in this movie, and because Dragon Ball has a lot of. I mean, it's a comedy, right? There's lots of humor about Goku not realizing that Bulma has no balls. I mean, Bulma flashing Master Roshi, all kinds of stuff in the original Dragon Ball, and while that stuff's a little bit dated, I guess, from modern sensibilities, it feels like it fits in the anime or in the manga, the story in general. Whereas this here just it feels too much, like too childish, maybe. It feels like it takes away. I think part of it is that Broly is a threat, and I mean he's mopping the floor with Goten and Trunks and Videl, frankly. But they're not treating him like a threat. Like there's so much comedy surrounding their fight with Broly that the tension and the stakes just feel off to me. I think that's maybe one of the big problems I have with it.
Especially because we're not like in the initial stages right now, right? Like we're kind of getting into the more middle stages of the Goten and Trunks versus Broly. Like it shouldn't, all the childish antics should be out of the way at this point. Broly should be established as a real threat, and that hasn't really happened. And I don't know, Broly has not been very well established, kind of in general in this movie.
Yeah.
His motivations have not changed literally an iota since the last movie, and you kind of have to have seen the last movie to actually understand what he's doing at all in this movie. But yeah, his character hasn't progressed. If anything, his character's kind of regressed because like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he's doing now. He's in a very unclear state. It's hard for me to say much more because I mean, like we said earlier, he barely has a line of dialogue in this movie. There's really nothing going on with his character other than he's just kind of a plaything for kids right now.
He's basically a non-character, truly. Like he has no personality beyond the fact that he wants to kill Goten or kill Kakarot, whatever. This does, though, to me, this is funny enough. This is kind of where all of that changes. This is probably like my favorite part of the movie as it shifts with Gohan arriving on scene as Broly kind of like blasts the boys one last time, and Gohan shows up to save the day. He's playing the Piccolo role here as he knocks with one of his own ki blasts, knocks Broly's last ki blast at the boys off into the distance.
Another like father like son scene, and I really do like it. And did you notice the music around this scene? Did it pick up for you at all?
We haven't talked much about the music yet. It's interesting. I don't know that I noticed it at this scene specifically. Is this where they pull out more of like the American rock music?
Yeah, it started coming in. I was like, oh, I thought we were done with this. I guess we're gonna do some more American rock. All right, a little bit of a throwback here.
I thought that I noticed it in the movie as a whole, which I thought was funny because we've gone maybe 2 or 3 movies at least without like, I mean, we had Deftones and a couple other bands and stuff. Disturbed. And yeah,
Sum
they definitely
41.
brought it back. What's that?
We had Sum 41 in the outro or the credits.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, we kind of moved on from it. And then we brought it right back. So I don't know. At this point, I kind of like, okay, cool. We used to do this. Like, let's do it again. Why not? Like, I'm kind of okay with it. I don't know if it's proper, but I don't mind it.
The music in this movie is just it's weird. I'll put it that way because there are some places where it's like there's no music at all, and then other places where there's American rock music. It's just weird.
It is really weird. But um this scene is not weird. In fact, I think I do actually kind of like this scene because Gohan's in his base form and he's squaring off against Broly. And there's a nifty little bit of choreography where they're going at each other, but there's this open palm like punch deflect that for some reason just looks really damn good. I don't know what it is about it, but it's seeing actual moments of real looking martial arts is kind of a rarity in DBZ. So I like that when Broly goes in, Gohan kind of moves his body to the side and deflects the punch and goes in for the counter. I just like the way it looks. It's so short. I wish they would have just kept doing stuff off of it, but it should have been like a good lead into a good fight. But for some reason, that little animation was just a nice touch.
Yeah, that whole sequence is really well done. It is very short, but even like the first, even right before that, Gohan like sidesteps in like a lunging, almost like Superman punch, and then goes into like the block and like a spin attack. I like that sequence a lot too. Um, this part, the tone here changes because Goten and Trunks are oftentimes used as like slapstick characters. Gohan, especially in his adult form, whatever, he's 17, 18, whatever you want to call it. He's usually played much more seriously, especially in fight situations. It's fun to get to see him come in this moment, basically save the boys, and be serious and be a badass here briefly against Broly.
Yeah, he's stepping into that lead role, a role that I think everybody likes to see him in. Um, and I mean, he does a pretty good job here. We also see Videl arrives back on scene at around this point, and Broly decides that he's going to launch this massive ki blast. Right, he's going to wipe them all out. He doesn't say that, but you have to assume it. And Gohan uses and this is a technique that kind of pops up every now and then. He like projects his ki out in like a protective bubble to protect him and his friends. And do we see Gohan use this move any other time, or is this the first time we ever see Gohan use this protective bubble?
I can't think of another time. This is really it's technique I can think of that's like the most akin to this is like 17's
Mhm.
energy shield that he uses. There's a couple other characters who use something like this, but I don't remember seeing it from Gohan before.
Yeah, it's it's a technique that I don't think is that outside the pale for a person to be able to figure out to project your key and protect people because we've seen things similar ish to it in the past, maybe used in other ways. But you're right, 17 is the most prominent. Um, but anyway, the key blast hits. It's partially successful as Goten, Trunks, and Videl all survive the blast, but are pretty banged up afterwards, which Gohan's not banged up at all, so I don't know how it broke through the shield, injured all of them, but didn't injure him. But either way, I think it's their way of setting the stage up. It is now Broly versus Gohan. No one else is going to interfere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean Gohan did his job, at least kept his friends and family from dying. He basically this is finally funny enough talking about characters taking too long to go Super Saiyan. Gohan now goes Super Saiyan. We do get
he's fought Broly before, so he should have probably known what kind of a threat this man was.
Yeah. I also like we have to timeline wise, while the movies are nebulous and weird as far as DBZ timeline goes, it feels like this takes place before all of the stuff with Majin Buu. Because Gohan does go Super Saiyan instead of using like his mystic or ultimate form. He's wearing the gi that he wore while training Videl and Goten. And Well, we'll find out shortly, but Goku's not present, right? Um, so this is it feels like it's got to be before all of the Boo stuff. It's kind of hard to tell if Gohan goes. I think he's in Super Saiyan 2 form, but sometimes the way that they draw it is inconsistent. Like he usually in Super Saiyan 2, he has just the one bang, and that's all we see here. Usually in Super Saiyan 1, he might have like a few more hanging hairs in the front, but we don't get the lightning that kind of oftentimes is an indication of Super Saiyan 2. Um, so I don't know. It's hard to tell. But Broly also now gives us his full mast and hulks up into the legendary Super Saiyan.
Yeah, and I mean the two clash, and Broly's strength obviously just completely overwhelms Gohan, right? Like that's kind of his move is if you're fighting Broly head on, you're probably going to lose. That's his game. Gohan quickly gets put into a weird hold. Once again, like I said, Broly's move this movie is to put people in weird like bars and holds and pins, where Gohan's like held backwards by his arms with a knee up against his back. So Gohan's being like pressed and squeezed uncomfortably, but realizing that there's a way for Gohan to like maybe win, we see him swing his legs upwards, delivering a kick to Broly that breaks him free, and then decides to fly away through the lava, where Broly chases and eventually gets sucked down beneath the lava. Am I understanding this correctly? That Broly just was swimming in lava and it was too hard?
Basically, Gohan like seemingly times it such that the lava collapses over top of Broly, but not him. And it almost they make it look like the lava almost like sucks Broly in, like sinks him down. I don't know. It's weird.
This guy could probably annihilate entire galaxies, but some lava that's real thick stuff. It's hard to swim in lava. It's very not viscous.
It's also kind of funny that Gohan just like lays down on a rock right by the lava here too.
That's what I got on here. Gohan decides that he's very sleepy and goes to sleep on a rock in the lava. Just like, okay, I guess there was nowhere else for him to lay down.
Apparently not, or at least he didn't have the juice to make it another 30
The
feet.
thing is they haven't proven to me that he used all of his juice. He barely fought. Like he barely exchanged blows with Broly. Why is he so worn out?
I have no idea. It is very strange because we're going to see him continue to fight here shortly.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's very sleepy and he's about to be sucked down beneath the tumultuous magmatic waves when Piccolo, or someone who looks like Piccolo, swings in and picks him up before he can be sucked under, saving his life. And when old Sleepyhead wakes up, he sees Krillin standing there wearing Piccolo's clothes for some reason.
I, I, I have a lot of questions and they're not going to be answered at all.
I honestly, I was fine with the joke when it was Piccolo, and now it just feels like a joke for a joke's sake. And this one kind of lost me.
A little bit. I literally laughed out loud when Piccolo saved Gohan again because we've talked about it in I think every movie.
I mean, they have to be self-conscious about it at this point, right? Like that was the joke.
It feels very like we're on movie number 10. It feels very deliberate at this point. Which I'm totally on board with that. If that's the joke, I'm very on board. And this feels like they've established this joke through 9 movies and like they're trying to circumvent it with Krillin wearing Piccolo's clothes for some reason. That part just feels weird. I don't know why Krillin is wearing these clothes.
So that's the thing. They had the joke. They actually nailed the joke, and then they tried to do more jokes on it, and it didn't work. Like, guys, just do the one joke, and we're all okay with it. Which it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just like, why?
Yeah, basically. I don't think Piccolo shows up in this movie. We do kind of get the maybe they really wanted to get this additional running gag in here because we do get the running gag of Krillin getting his ass handed to him immediately.
Yeah, Broly kind of erupts out of the lava, and like Krillin just gets knocked back into like the mountainside instantly, just like a cartoon Bugs Bunny, like Krillin shaped hole into the side of the mountain. He's out of the fight seconds into it. And Gohan charges in, and he actually does this kind of cool, like evading like a flurry of ki blasts as he's jumping back and forth. But he does eventually get kind of like a combo hit where Broly does like his forearm like clothesline thing, but he has a ki blast in it, and it just blasts Gohan.
I do have to point out too that when Krillin gets blasted into the mountain, the shot is such that Krillin's being pushed back and Gohan fully steps around Krillin, like dodging Krillin to not help him or catch him or anything, deliberately avoiding doing so to go fight Broly. And I was like, what
You'll
the fuck,
take
bro?
a blast for Vegeta, but you won't catch Krillin. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I was like, that's
Yeah, how about my boy
wild.
here?
Yeah, Krillin just saved your butt, and you're like, nah.
I did. You know what? Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of pissed off over here.
But I had to bring that one up. Gohan at this point, I think he's not even in Super Saiyan at this point, is he?
No, he's still in his base form. As far as I know, like I think it's implying that he's so like spent up he can't summon up Super Saiyan. It's kind of the vibe I was getting from it.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm on board for that. But he basically
He's
gets
putting
the
another
bear.
painful choke.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he basically gets the bear hug here, doesn't he? Isn't that he's just being crushed
Yeah, he's
by
getting bear
Broly.
hugged. He's screaming in pain. Videl, I'm assuming, hears it and struggles to her feet and is able to summon up enough energy to throw a rock at Broly before falling over. And this motivates Gohan to not be bear hugged anymore, so he breaks out of that.
He didn't like it.
Yeah, you didn't like. I think he popped on the gold too, so he's back up to golden form. So I mean, it's interesting. I don't really know why things are happening at this point, but we do get to the climactic moment, which I do actually do like this. Broly jumps up on a high rock, and we see him firing this just colossal ki blast towards Gohan, who decides to return his own ki blast in the form of Kamehameha, and it's pretty cool. And on top of that, we see Goten arrive on scene to help out his brother, and he lends his own Kamehameha wave to the struggle. So now we've got two Kamehameha beams against this just, like size of a mountain ki blast trying to push it back. I think it's actually very cinematic.
I like this a lot. But I don't know. Other people might have different opinions about this, but we'll kind of talk through it here because Broly's still overpowering Goten and Gohan here. They're just kind of like struggling against it. This turns into, I'm trying to remember the order of events because I think it starts with Goten basically just saying out loud, like, I wish my dad were here. And I think it shows us like a little shot of the Dragon Balls briefly.
Yeah,
And
I think that's what it was implied. Like they're like pulsing with energy around the time Goten says that.
yeah, and I think you kind of see the sky turn black and Goku, like an angel from heaven, just kind of descends amidst his two sons here, and goes Super Saiyan and fires off his own Kamehameha. So this is a full-on, like, father, son, and son Kamehameha, and I'm honestly on board. Like, some people might feel like that's kind of like pandering fan service. I like it. I'm not gonna lie.
It absolutely is, and I absolutely do like it. And there's a couple of cool shots that you can find in there of just like the blue energy just engulfing them as they all have their hands out in that iconic pose. It looks good. Like I don't really care that we had to really shoehorn this moment in. It looks good, and at the end of the day, I watch Dragon Ball for cool stuff and cool moments, and this checks that box.
Yeah, it absolutely does. The other thing here, and the execution on this was a little bit weird, but I like what they were at least going for with this because Trunks gets up from being beaten up, and basically throws a ki blast. I'll be honest, I don't know if his ki blast got thrown at Broly or if it got thrown at Broly's ki blast. This part's a little bit, I couldn't follow it, to be honest, but I like the implication that Trunks was the one who helps with the victory, as if he were the one. I mean, this is clearly harkening back to Gohan and his father son Kamehameha against Cell, and Trunks is playing the role of Vegeta in this moment. So Vegeta's son is getting to be Vegeta in basically like throwing a little ki blast to help the Goku family or the Sun family defeat the bad guy here, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that that's what they were harkening back to, and it's a fun moment. I I mean, that's one of the best like moments in Dragon Ball that you're referencing too. So I don't mind you mimicking greatness. And I don't know, it's Trunks is still pitching in at this point. It's not just the Goku family show at this moment. Trunks gets to pitch in a little bit. It's a fine scene. I would have had it feel a little bit more impactful. That's I think the one thing I was missing from the Trunks Key Blast. Like you were mentioning, you couldn't follow exactly where he was targeting with it, what his intention was, but it would have been nice to see him muster up just a little bit more visible impact for me to latch on to. But I like what they were attempting to do with it. I do give them some pretty high points in that. And you've mentioned before that most of these movies are based off of events that happen in the regular series, and so I I don't mind this. Like if you're gonna keep this kind of trend going, um, then yeah, to go ahead and do it. And I think this was a pretty all right way of setting up this scene.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I like about this one actually is that some of the other elements where they take from the show, the anime, they feel they feel almost like one for one. They feel like they're really like almost just rehashing them. This one does feel a little bit like a rehash, but it's like a rehash for the new era. And so it has elements like you have Gohan in, or I'm sorry, Goten in there, and then you have Trunks in there as like the stand-in for Vegeta. Um, it has elements that are just different enough that I think I like it quite a bit. I do wish like you said, I wish that visually it was a little bit different. I wish the execution was a little bit better, and the like just the feeling, the emotion that they're kind of eliciting from the audience. I think they could have executed all of it just a little bit better. But overall, I like it. I like the moment. One of the other things that I thought was pretty funny about this is that because the Sun family pushes Broly back with their Kamehameha, they also push him into the sun, which I think that's either 2 or 3 KOs that the Sun gets in the Dragon Ball Z movies at this point.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the Sun's doing pretty good. It hasn't lost a battle yet.
I mean, it's got a pretty good kill to death ratio, apparently. Um,
But I mean, he got hit by like a Goku, Gohan, Goten combined Super Kamehameha that knocked him across the galaxy and into the freaking sun. He's dead, right? Like that is the end of Broly, and we don't see him again.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. We'll never see Broly ever again.
Anyway, the music here is heavy and metal and I think American. The screen's flashing. Uh we get those good Schemmel screams as he's telling, Goten and Gohan to work harder and amp things up. I mean, the whole scene's pretty fun. I like this. The, I honestly, other than some of the like storyline execution, like beats, like with Trunks and just kind of the lead up to it, I actually think they actually did a lot right in the end of this movie. Like it feels like a good climactic moment. And I can't exactly say that about most of the other movies. So this is something I think this movie can actually hang their hat on.
Yeah. Once Gohan shows up in this movie, which is basically like the last 15, I mean, it's only a 50-minute movie, but the last 15 minutes or so when Gohan shows up, I actually like most of what happens once Gohan is present. I guess we should kind of talk about just the very tail end here.
Oh yeah, there's like a couple quick beats here.
Yeah. Because Goku basically vanishes, presumably the Dragon Balls allowed Goku to show up briefly, because Goten's wish was, "I wish Dad was here right now," or something to that effect. And then he is gone back to the realm of the dead. In fact, I think they even show the Dragon Balls like scatter at that point. So there's kind of the implication that
It is weird that they show the Dragon Ball scatter, but we don't actually ever see Shenron. So I don't know
Shenron.
what's up with that.
Yeah, the Dragon Balls are treated very strangely in this movie, but whatever. Um, and then this kind of turns into a gag of Videl being like, "Why didn't you come save me sooner, Gohan?" And kind of chases him around, and it's fine, whatever. I think that's credits roll at that point, basically, isn't that right?
We get to see Krillin still stuck in the mountain asking for help.
The Krillin getting his ass kicked in the movies gag is still running strong in this
Alive
one.
and well, thank God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the end of the movie. Yeah, and I mean, overall, it's man, there's a lot of loose ends in this movie that if they would have just taken the time to kind of tidy up a bit, I actually think this could have been a pretty decent movie. The problem is that when you start following any of these little storylines that they lay out, they don't they just leave questions. They don't answer anything. What the hell are the crystals? What is actually going on with the village? Was that monster really the monster that was eating people and demanding tribute? Like what? Who are these villagers and why have they been here this whole time? Is the magic crystal that was smashed, assumably by Broly, real? Like, I have 1,000 questions at the end of this movie. And I just don't know. I won't have any of those answers, and that bothers me. Aside from that, we actually get a couple pretty cool moments of choreography. It's a movie that involves mainly side characters. It's not the Goku or Vegeta show, so that already scores like some big points for me. I wish the characters like Goten and Trunks would have been treated a little bit more seriously. Like I don't mind having those reminders that they're kids, but also you need to take the time and also remind us that these kids are martial artists. They're very capable. And we don't get those moments like Goku got when he was a kid. And I wish we'd get more of that. So this I have a ton of nitpicks, but there's also a ton of little things that I like too. It's just maybe a little bit more time to sort things out, a little bit more budget to, pretty up the fights a little bit more. And I think you could have actually have had something kind of special here.
Yeah. It's funny because honestly, this is definitely low on, if I were to rank the movies, this would be very low on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But that last like 15 minutes or so after Gohan shows up, a lot of that is really good. And like you said, the ending for this, like the fight with this bad guy, is very solid. Better than a lot of the endings for some of the bad guys. So I honestly, going into this movie, I was kind of dreading watching this one again because I remembered it being not great. And truly, the first half is not great.
Yeah.
You could really do without the whole villager plot line in this. You would not lose anything.
And also spending absolutely zero time developing Broly at all whatsoever through this movie, kind of a bummer.
Yes, very much so. So there are a lot of, this movie has a lot of negatives, but there's more in this movie to like than I remembered there being. There's just a few points, like really the father son and son Kamehameha I actually really like a lot. Yeah, I think you could have done, Toei could have done a lot more with this movie. This could have been this either could have been like a 30-minute movie and saved not wasted as much of my time, or it could have been fleshed out to like an hour and a half movie and actually developed Broly's character and answered some of the questions that we have.
See, and that's where I'm at the point where, like, if I have to just rate this movie based off of what it is, yeah, I don't actually rate this movie very high. But what I will say is I like a lot of the ingredients that they had gotten together. I wish they would have just mixed them up properly because, like I said, we've got all the side characters. That's awesome. We get a cool father son Kamehameha with a satisfying like resolution to the bad guy, like a satisfying end to the bad guy. Um, and I mean, we've got some mystery with the crystals, and there's like this new village with all the stuff going on. There's a lot of cool ideas here that just are not fleshed out at all. And the ball is dropped repeatedly. So this is not like some of the other movies where even like, I don't know, Android 13 is kind of whatever to me. I don't even know if I care about the concept at all. But like with this movie, there's a lot of pieces where I'm like, okay, if we just work on this a little bit, like I don't think it actually takes a lot of polishing to take this from like fine movie to actually a pretty good movie. Like I think it's all the pieces are there. If we just work on it a little bit, I think there's a lot of potential. So I'm very torn because there's what it could have been, which could have been really awesome, and then there's what it is, and that's I don't know. I like the last 15 minutes a lot.
Yeah, pretty much. As I'm thinking on this now, I kind of feel like this movie actually would have been served better with an entirely different villain. I feel like just bringing Broly back in here, especially the way that they brought Broly back, where there's very little explanation. He's basically a non-character. I feel like maybe if you just swap him out for a different villain, it would the movie would be better served for it, honestly.
Well, I mean, considering they didn't do anything with Broly, you could probably put anything in there and you probably wouldn't notice much of a difference.
Yeah, truly. Which is kind of why I feel like, maybe just create a whole new villain. And I mean, I guess you would have to flesh out the new villain too, but it's not like you're losing anything from Broly by changing him out.
Well, I mean, you need to flesh out Broly anyhow, so whatever you stick in there is going to have to be fleshed out, whether it's Broly or something new.
Right.
It's man, I think that's where I'm at. I'm just very torn because I want to like this movie, like I really want to like it, and I can't get past all the loose ends and the failed story plots and like the gaping hole and Broly's development. Like, there's too many things that I can't look past. Um, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of things that I like that they started cooking with. So this is probably one of the movies I feel more split on as far as the ones we've watched so far in the DBZ movie era.
It is kind of funny because been a couple of movies that I was excited to watch that I remembered being good. And then as an adult, watching them 20 years later, I was like, ooh, this is not great. Like, I think Tree of Might was one of those for me. And then this one was kind of the opposite, where this was one of the lowest in my mind, like my memory. But there was a lot more in this movie to like it's funny because it feels a lot like the Boo arc to me, because there's elements that are really good if they were refined. Uh, but they either dropped the ball or they didn't put enough time and effort into them, which in a lot of ways can be said of the Boo arc as well.
Yeah, and for me too, that's kind of an effect of expectations, right? Is maybe you walked in expecting something, awful, but you got something that was bad, and so it's not terrible. That's a plus. And sometimes, you walk in with those rose tinted glasses and you're just like, oh, Tree of Might. I remember liking that one. And then you get through it and you're like, oh, my expectations were way off on that one. This is going to be brutal.
That's a good point. Yeah, my expectations for this one were truly at rock bottom, and so I was like, oh, okay, there's some fun stuff in here. So maybe
And I
that
mean,
helped.
it helps too that I think, and I was in a similar boat where I was just like, all right, like the last Broly movie was fine. Like I didn't love it, but it was a Broly movie. I would definitely walked into this one with even lower expectations than what I had for that one. And so I was looking for those fun moments, those moments that I could really kind of dig into. And I actually found them, which is always like, that's always nice that you can find, some treasures in the bottom of the dumpster.
Truly, yes. So yeah, I mean, this one was a little bit of a pleasant surprise. Definitely could have used some polishing, but it's got some fun beats. I don't know that I have a whole lot more to say about it. Did you have anything else to say, Dayton?
No, I mean, I think I put it pretty well when I said that I like the ingredients. I just don't like the way that they put them together. There's a lot of stuff that could have been great, but they just didn't execute. And so for me, it's kind of a fine-ish watch. Like I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. This one, it's fine. But I think that's going to be it for this episode of Instant Transmission, where we discuss everything Dragon Ball. This has been your host, Todd.
And Dayton.
Don't forget, we're on Patreon and Discord. If you want to help us petition to make Videl relevant again, you can find us. You can find us at patreon.com/ITDBpodcast. The Discord link will be in the episode description, but you can also find it and all of our other links at linktree/ITDBpodcast. Thank you all so much for your support. Be sure to join us next time as we scour the internet for Dragon Ball topics that are tickling your fancy in our fan-based discussion.
Yeah.
Reddit, YouTube, and maybe a good old forum are all on the table. We'll find the most updated and popular topics across the interwebs and give our own take because we love to hear ourselves talk. Will we get stuck talking about Goku's diet? Is there a certain fan fiction that has won the hearts of the Dragon Ball community? Why is Frieza's OnlyFans the #1 topic on the internet?
God.
Find out next time. And to all our fellow Dragon Ball fans, stay safe out there and remember to keep rocking the dragon.
The one thing I didn't mention is that I thought Videl's costume change was pretty slick. I'm a fan of it.
It looks fun when she's flying around, so yeah, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I bet you I know why.